This garden season, especially for small space gardeners who trying to grow something or who trying to plant something, I'm going to recommend two plants for you that could change your life. All right? That might just change your life. Two plants. And these two plants is a mint, doesn't matter what type of mint, and there's a plant named sweet stevia. These two plants, at least try to put them in a container or something. These two plants. Why am I recommending this plant to you guys? Why am I recommending this plant? Something that we all use very regular. Well, myself, what I use very regular, I use a lot of tea. I drink a lot of tea. And we all know tea is very important. We all know the importance of tea. Sometimes, like I can drink tea without put added sugar into the tea. That's my favorite of drinking it. Some people prefer to add sugar. Okay, so this is where the sweet stevia comes in. The sweet stevia is a plant that produces a lot of leaf, and the leaf is pretty sweet. The leaf is sweet. If you taste the leaf, it's sweet. No, that could become your sugar. And this is why I'm saying it can change your life. These two plants could help change your life, lead you to the path of a healthy lifestyle. Why am I saying that? We all know how sugar is. We know if you love sugar, how dangerous it can be. If you really love sugar and you got to eat sweet thing and you got to drink sweet thing. We know how that can be. So this is where these two plants comes in. Now with the mint produce a lot of leaf during the spring season into the summer. So you could be harvesting mint every week. You could save your mint, you could put up, but at the same time, you drinking fresh tea every day. Plus, you're not using the sugar. So for the people who have, let me see, like diabetes, for the people who have diabetes and this type of thing, this could help change because you're not actually using the raw sugar. You're using a plant, and the plant produce sweetness. So I want you guys, especially the small space gardeners who don't have too much space, insert these two plants in your garden. And the good thing with the mint, it comes back every garden season. So these two plants can change a person's life, change their health. Health is important, guys. All right? Okay, LP say, yes, sweet stevia is very sweet. Grow it last say, I don't love the taste, but it is natural plant. That's exactly why I'm recommending it. That's why I'm recommending. It's a plant you getting the sweetness from, not sugar that went through a machine and whatever added to it. It's a natural plant that the leaf is sweet. And health is well, guys. Health is well. So this is two plants I truly recommend. For people who have small space, think about these two plants. Only put them in place. Because you go to places and you buy tea bags, right? You buy tea bags. These days, I'm not sure if you could even trust people these days, but I'm just saying. Because anyhow, you buy two tea bags. You come, you use it, and you buy tea bag by the pack. And tea bag is getting more expensive also. So by using the sweet stevia and using the mint, these two plants could change your life in many ways because now what it's doing, it's stopping you from using other tea bags you don't even know about, and it also stopping you from using sugar. So a person who might have a diet that they shouldn't be eating sugar, or they've been warned they need to stay away from sugar, these plants might be able to help. But this is why do your own research. I don't want you to just use these plants. We know mint. I believe everybody drink mint before. I think everybody drink mint. And I don't think anybody have a problem with mint causing any effect on them. I don't know if there's anyone out there, but I know I drink all type of mint and it's never affect me in any way. It made me feel good. That's what it do. It does. It made me feel good. So growing these herbs and getting a herb book is important. Growing these herbs and getting a herb book for 2025, it's important. Yes. So how you guys doing, man? How you guys doing tonight? What's going on? How you guys doing tonight? We have exactly 2 more months. Exactly 2 more months before the fall, the spring. I'm trying to figure out, have you been preparing any soil so far? Have you been thinking about what type of plant you want to grow? Have you been thinking about how long does it take for the plant you want to grow? If you haven't doing that, guys, I think you need to start doing that because before you wink, it's gonna be March, springtime, March, April. March, April is when a lot of people start to get out there. Some people gotta wait till May. So plan ahead, plan ahead of time. All right. Okay, LPC, doing well, doing well. Thanks. It's cool out here at 9 degrees. Wow. Yes, I am going through my seed and brainstorming, thinking about what I'm gonna grow. Very important. These are the necessary steps that's gonna make life easier for you when the frost, when the spring come. Because you have time, you sit down and you think, what am I planting this year? What makes sense? What makes sense for me to grow this year? What can I grow this year that I can have food to feed my family? What can I grow this year that I grew before and was very successful? Now is the time to be thinking. When the spring come, you don't want to be thinking about what should you plant. Your mind should be ready. You should be, and now is the time. Now is the time for seed preparation. Now is the time to start putting your seed in some soil. Now is the time. Now is the time to start fixing your containers then. If you have compost you want to add into your containers or the raised bed, now is the time. You have 2 more months to get that prepared. So when the spring comes, it's planting time. It's just planting time. You don't have time to waste trying to figure out what to plant. Because in cases like that, you might end up have to run to the store with and buy starts. I mean, you do what you can. You do what's work for you. But seeds could help you save a few dollars. All right. Okay. LP say some stuff I have to start early inside peppers. I should start in maybe February for sure, March. Okay. If I want to grow ginger or turmeric, I have to start them now. Yes, definitely. The ginger and the turmeric, you definitely need to start them indoors for real. Because if I take, because ginger, you got to take your ginger them out maybe April, into April. And ginger take about 8 months to really get mature, ginger and turmeric. So if you really want to get them to that mature state where they mature, is to start them indoors. From my experience, starting them indoors, you stand a chance of getting a better harvest. And when come on your pepper, believe it or not, you can start your pepper now. The reason why I'm saying you could start your pepper now, if you start them now and you got them growing, by the time you transplant them, in no time, they're gonna be ready to start pushing flowers. You see, in no time, you will be because they you know they do. Remember, pepper take a certain amount of time before it start pushing flowers. It take a certain amount of time. So the earlier you plant, you sow the seed and taking care of them, the after you transplant them, is you're gonna get flowers earlier. You see, so now you have more time to harvest, and this is my goal. My goal is about trying to harvest as much as I can. That's my goal, to harvest. So this is why I already have my peppers them already. My peppers them already germinate. My turmeric, ginger already in the soil. So they're gonna start to, do their thing, push out their root and push out their leaf. Then how I plant them? I plant them in a deep container. The ginger and the turmeric, I plant them in a deep container because they grow. So while they're growing up, the container keep them from, you know what I mean? Because you know you got to transplant them. So you just want they do the thing slowly. So when you transplant them, they already start. So it's just now to continue. Okay, let me see what LP say. Okay. And my peppers always seem to take a long time to get ripe peppers. So if I have indoor space to start in February and keep inside until late May, they will produce well. Right. Because it doesn't matter. Just like our woman take a certain amount of time before she able to the baby, 9 months, pepper take a certain amount of time as well. It could take longer. It could take longer according to the growing session, the growing process, and the condition they in. They could take longer because I've seen that before. So if you start them and then bring them out in the spring, in May or whenever, they already, just what I recommend, especially if you growing them in a container, what I recommend, put them in a container. Say, for instance, you're growing them in container. I will plant them in the same container that I'm going to be taking them out in the spring. So they're growing already. So all you do, you put the container out in the spring and let them continue their journey. You see what I'm coming from? So it's no stopping the process because you dig it out and try to transplant it. It's better and it's easier if you put it into the same container that you're going to take it outside. If you plant it in the ground, then it's different. But give yourself an early start if you have the space inside. Give yourself an early start with pepper. If you wait too late, sometimes you don't even get this, because I've seen this before. I've seen it before. You wait too late to sow your seed. Sometimes your pepper produce and you never even get a chance to get ripe ones. I've seen that before. So giving them some time. This is why we in January. And this is why I'm sowing seed. I'm trying to get everything together now, because I know if you wait too late, you might even you're too American, then by the time you're ready to harvest them, they're small. So you want to give them time that they can grow. Okay. Okay, if I can do that, I would, but I grow them in 5 gallon buckets, so I can't have. Right. I understand. So basically, I understand. Do what works for you. But at the end of the day, having them growing indoor is gonna help you out, because the process, it's happening already, the growing process. So starting them indoors will be a good idea. It will definitely, I understand. The space you can be putting, definitely. So sow them, and when planting time come, you take them outdoor. All right? It's garden is this season. I think this season gonna be very interesting. Okay, let me see. But I get your point. The less we disturb their root, the better. You get that's exactly my point. That's exactly my point. Because sometimes when you taking them out of the container, sometimes the root get like a tussle and and a root might get damaged. You see that's happened. So in cases like that, say for instance the root get damaged, that's gonna kind of keep at the plant for a little, because now this plant have to regrow this root and strengthen back this root, get strength to continue its journey. So if you're able to have them in that bucket, that same bucket, and just bring the bucket outside and leave it there, they're already in the process. You see, so no time to damage their root. So they grow faster. They grow definitely faster. So, because the reason why I'm telling you this is because, like I hear you said, me. Yes, like I hear you said, me. I realize that you in a zone that have a pretty short growing season. Because if you got to bring out your pepper in May, you only have June, July, August, September, October, maybe like 5 months. you might get that much harvest. Like for instance, that's why I'm trying to tell you this as well. Like for instance, we a lot of people don't understand too. Pepper could take cold weather. Pepper just can't take weather below 30 degrees. That's the kind of weather pepper can't take. Pepper can't take freezing. You know, when they go down below 20, below 30, 28, 27, that's the weather pepper can't take. But pepper could take 37, 38, 35. I've seen that with my own eyes. A matter of fact, I take out peppers before the frost 1 year and they survive. Baby pepper, I'm talking about. Before the frost, the last frost in March, and they survive. The only thing that damage pepper when come on coldness is the frost. Because the frost just dry them up. But other than that, they really, well, still that depends on which zone you in. Let me answer that. That's for me. I could bring out pepper March, April because of the zone I'm in. The zone you might be in might be more colder, so it can be different. Different zone, this is what too, guys. Different zone is different situation. Longer growing days, colder weather. You have to think about that. So you have to think about your zone and how long you have and when is your frost and how cold your frosts be. You got to be thinking about it because this is your zone you growing into. So that is very important for you. All right? LP say, yes, exactly. If we are lucky, October would go to cold. All right. You see? So that's why if you have a space and you start them early and they're able to grow, you will get up, you will be more, you will be able to get a bigger harvest and more harvest out of your garden. Like me, in my garden, see, my last frost is November. That's when my last frost. After the frost, nothing else grows after that frost. So it's November. Some people is October. And October, from November, from June to October is like May. From May to October, May, June, July, August, September, 5 months. If you could get 7 months out of your pepper, you will harvest pepper till you're tired. Like me, if I bring out mine, May, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. Yes, 7 months for the people who could get 7 months out of their peppers. I guarantee you, you will harvest pepper till you're tired, and that's no joke. You will harvest pepper until you're tired. So this is why, guys, we have to adjust to our condition in our zone. All right? You have to condition yourself to your zone and what you can grow in your zone and what makes sense. Because at the end of the day, is what makes sense. Is what makes sense at the end of the day. Is what makes sense. Because if you have a short growing season and at the same time you have a crop that takes 6 months to produce, it's going to be difficult for you to grow that crop. When I say difficult, what I mean is the timing. How much could you really get? Does it make sense me growing this plan? So this is the thing. Think about your plants you want to grow before you even put them in the ground. All right? Give me 1 second, please. Yes. So make life easier for you this garden season, guys. Make life easier for yourself by planning ahead. LPC. It's good to look at our seeds. No, definitely, because we might be surprised which ones say to start inside 10 weeks before. Exactly. Exactly. That's a way how to start. Exactly. 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 These are things you have to be paying attention to know. That's a good point, LP. That's a very good point. Look at your seed and do that. Basically, you have your phone, you go check online. How long does it take for this plant, like a pepper plant, to produce? How long should you start this seed, pepper seed, before the frost? That's important. These things, you see, and this is the thing. This is why I try to talk about the important parts in gardening. And thank you for bringing up this point, LP. This is why I love to bring in the important parts that makes things a little easier for you in your garden season. Because if you understand and you know, if for instance you know, all right, I have to sow these seed at least 6 to 8 weeks or 10 weeks before the frost. You know, if you don't do that, you have a situation. You might be able to get a harvest. If you don't do that, you mightn't able to get a harvest. So it's important to know these things, the time they take. So you also know, all right, I have to sow these seed indoors before 2 weeks before the frost. Because if I don't do that, it don't make sense planting them. You might just have to go to the store and get. So this is why I'm saying you have 2 months, plan it out. You have 2 months for left for garden season. Plan it out. Hey gamer on YouTube, what's up? Thank you, appreciate it. Yes, it's all about planning. Planning for success in this garden season. You know that where you growing, you know the season, the growing season, whether it's 4 months, whether it's 6 months, whether it's 7 months, whether it's 8 months. It's just different. It's just different. So you have to take the time out, sit down, plan it out. Plan out how am I doing this? What am I planting? And according to what help you now say, think, study them that you know. If you're capable of planting them out, those all you need at least at least 10 weeks or 8 weeks to start indoors. Like for instance, squash. You could start squash directly in the ground. You could start squash directly in the ground. A lot of plants, cucumber, you could plant these things directly in the ground. But when you talk about peppers and these crop that take 5, 6 months before they start producing anything. You have to start them indoors. So we don't want you to waste your time. So we want you to start early and give yourself time. Be ahead of time so you could be successful. LPC. I like to look back on previous notes and pictures to help me plan the new season. I agree with that. I agree with that. Because in cases like that, what happens is you learn, you also learn from your mistake, and you learn to correct your mistake, and you're gonna also realize I did this method, and this method worked perfect. This method worked good. So if this method worked good, what do? You go back, you follow this method because this method is working for you. Let me tell you what I used to do. This is why I know in my garden, I know where to plant certain plant. How did I able to know that? Because what I used to do rotate crop. I used to do rotate crop because I want to know where in my garden that this plant strive better. This is where I find a spot that my peppers grow like wildfire. I find a spot. I was doing a rotate crop. I was doing rotate crop. Rotate crop mean planting in different areas. That's rotate crop. You planting in different areas. So every year, hey Jamaica, how you doing? Thank you for being here. Okay, all right. Thank you for being here. All right. Watching while processing greens. All right. Awesome. That's a good skill as well. That's a good skill as well. Learning to process. Because when you're growing and you start harvesting, you got to know how to process and do and store your food. Yes. Yes. Yes, guys. So what I used to do rotate crop, right? Rotate crop is rotating your crops them every year. So every year you move the plant, you plant them here this season, you take them to the other side, and you keep switching. You keep switching. And over the years, what you're gonna realize, wait, hold on. This plant did really well last year, right here, right where the sun, it's like they're getting the right sun in this location. It's like, you see what I'm saying? It's like they're getting the right atmosphere. Even though in our even though in our garden, you will find what you call it again. How to put that one? You see, like how we could say in different zone, different temperature. Even in your garden, you find that. You find that in your garden as well. Different climate inside your garden. Because if the sun is penetrating one area, that area gonna be more hot. And over the next side gonna be more cooler than this area. So now by rotating, you realize that these plants thrive way better in the sun than in the cooler area. Then you also gonna learn that these plants thrive better in the cooler area than the direct sun. So rotate crop, this is what rotate crop does for you. It educates you. Rotate crop educates you. Some you will never understand the level of education you get from rotate crop. Because no, what you're learning from rotate crop is the climate, is what these plants love. Yeah. So that now I could point out and I could tell you the plants then that I grow that prefer the heat and the ones that prefer to be in a shaded area. Not every plant really love that direct sun hitting them for 8 hours. Peppers, they could take that. Pepper love that. A pepper will take 6 hours beating from the hot sun all day. That's what it love. Okra plant will also take a beating with the sun all day. They love that. Now, when we go to broccoli now, let me go to broccoli for a minute. Broccoli don't want that type of heat. Kale don't want that type of heat. Hey James, what's up, man? How you doing? Thank you for being here. Yes. Broccoli, kale, these type of plants don't want that type of heat. So if you putting them in heat and they don't love heat, then it's going to be a situation where the production going to be very slow. Because you planted, you giving them the opposite of what they want. You give them the opposite of what they like. But now, why you think, and this is important too, why do you think that kale, broccoli, spinach, all these leafy greens does well in the spring? Because that's their weather. And also in the fall, that's their weather. Just notice. Your kale, collard greens, broccoli will be doing so well in the spring. So well. And by the time the summer hit and the heat start penetrating, you see the growth slow. They slow down the growth. They're not pushing as much leaf as they was pushing like before. So this is why it's so important to do rotate crop in your garden, because this is your garden. This is where you planted. So you got to do rotate crop, and rotate crop could let you know which plant prefer the sun and which plant prefer the cool, the shaded area. This thing is important because this is what gives you success. Once you're able to make the plant comfortable, it's going to produce. And this is for real. Okay, let me see. LPC. Yes, you need to know if you have coal loving crop, I have to decide what to start really early and when to move them for warm season crop, like tomatoes and peppers. Exactly. You see, just these key information, you can be so successful. Just with these keys, information, understanding the plan. This is why many times you want to hear me say, study the plan. Study the plan. Study the plan. Because that's how you get success, by studying them. So if you study them and you know exactly what this plant desire, what this plant like, you're going to be successful. Your garden will be successful. No doubt about that. Okay, let me see. Yes, good. LP say good point. They might not die from the heat, but they won't be happy. Exactly. They will still be there, but they're not gonna be happy because that heat is not their friend. They prefer the colder weather. If you notice, sometimes your kale will stay, will go right through the summer. But when it go through the summer, you realize in the fall, it just shake back up itself and start to push out leaf again. Why? Because the heat from that summer is not hitting them again. So they strive better in the cooler weather. Better. If you understand that and know that, you will be successful. This is what I'm saying. Rotate crop in your garden, study it, and you're gonna see how successful you be. You're gonna see how much you learn about the plants you're growing. You will be surprised how much you learn. Because now you realize, okay, this is like me, I find a spot in my garden to grow peppers. I find the magic spot to grow peppers. These peppers will start produce. And then why? Because how I find that? Rotate them. Rotate them. Very important. Okay, LP say, it's so hard for me to give up on plants, but I have to learn to get better so I can be efficient. Yes, definitely. You're gonna get better. The more you do it, don't give up on no plan. The more you do it, the more you learn, the more you understand. Just have an open mind to it and be willing to learn. In your garden, you could become the greatest scientist in your garden because you're dealing with the soil, you're dealing with the temperature, you're dealing with everything in your soil, in your garden. I'm not telling you in another person's garden. I'm saying your garden. You have the ability to become great in what you're doing in your garden because studying is important. Studying. If you cannot remember, take notes. I used to take notes before. I used to take notes and then I used to go back. I go back in my notes and I start checking. Okay, these plants. I used to do a drawing too. I used to have a little drawing and know the location of where I plant these plants, and they did so well here last year, and the year before they did poorly. So these are the things. This is why I know so much about the plants that I grow because I study them. If you're able to do that, you'll be great. You'll be successful because you already know that these plants gonna be successful because you following a blueprint that you create, you learn. You learn this blueprint in your garden, where to plant these. Okay, this area here, I'm gonna be putting my peppers right in this area here. I'm gonna be putting my okra there. And in this cool area right here, I'm gonna plant brassica. You see where I'm coming from? So I'm gonna put the brassica then in here, in this area here, in this raised bed here. That's where I'm gonna put my brassica. This area is where the sun shines the most. So if the sun shines here the most, I'm gonna be planting the crops like the pepper, the okras, these crops in this location because this is where the sun shining. Over on the side over there is the cool crop where they cannot stand the heat. So we put them over there. So it's like you have a map and a blueprint. It might sound crazy, but trust me, create this in your head. What I now said here, create it in your head, in your mind, in your thinking, and you see what I'm talking about. You remember, this is your garden. This is your space. You the one got to be successful there. Other people could tell you different things. Yes, you learn from other people, but you also got to learn from yourself. Okay? The greatest teacher sometimes I'm saying, the greatest teacher sometimes could be yourself. And that's the honest truth. Because when you learn from yourself, it comes with confirmation. It's a package. You learn this, it comes with confirmation. This is not someone tell you this. This is what you do, your experience. So create this, what I now show you in your mind, in your head, and I guarantee you, you will see more progress. More progress. Okay, let me see. Okay. James say, I'm up. All right. All right, good. James, how you doing, man? I hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you, okay? Many green stays so much better in the cool. That exactly. Exactly. That's their time. If you notice, that's the time they produce. That's the time for harvest. Tastes so better, fresh, and that's true. James C. You're right, planter. I always saw right down everything you do in the garden, and you will be amazed at how much you learn from yourself. Yes, it's for real. For real. You could become your own teacher. For real, James, this is true. You can become your own teacher in your garden. Yes, you learn other things from other people. Yes, you learn other things, but you put them to practice. You put them to practice, and that's how you learn. Now you realize, my goodness, I've come so far within these couple of years. I've come so far. You remember when you didn't even know how to dig the hole to plant. Now you become a master of that. You become a master of your plans. You become a master knowing, God, sometimes you could identify, just looking and identify this plant. What is going on with this plant right here? Something is not right with this plant right here. And you go over and you start to pay attention to that plant because all of them is doing good except in this one. So now you go and you start watching this plant here and see what's going on here. Then you start to pay attention. This plant gonna give you all the indication of what's going on if you paying attention. No, you might not understand fully this season, but the next season you might see another plant in the same area acting the same. Then you know what? Something ain't right there. Let me see if maybe lack of water. Let me see lack of nutrient. So when you see you gotta open up yourself to learning in this thing. So now you realize last year a plant was right here, the planting did well. This year I put back a plant there, the plant still ain't doing well. Now what you do now, you start paying attention. You might add a little water. If you ain't see nothing better, you might add a little compost. If you ain't see nothing better, you just say, you know what, let me pay attention and see if this compost, when it mixing, what difference it's gonna make. Right? Just like that. This plant gonna tell you're gonna have an idea whether it wanted water whether it was lacking of nutrient. Right there, you start learning about this plant. Right there, you start learning about this plant. So just have an open mind with this thing, guys. That's how you get success. Open mind. Okay, let me see the chat. I do that more than notes. James say, I do that more than notes these days, but I've been growing so long I don't have to keep details note. Definitely, definitely. It's the same thing with me. I used to put notes in the early part. I used to write down notes because I want to have a successful garden. So I used to, hey, Gonit, what's up? Thank you for being here. Yes, so I used to have my book, used to have a book, and I'm writing down peppers, okra, pumpkin, and sometimes I draw out a blueprint. I draw it out. And I'm watching every year what's happening, what is going on every year. Doing rotate crop, I'm telling you guys, it doesn't matter if you do container garden, try rotate crop. Try it. You will learn so much you would never believe you learn so much. Let me see. Thank you, Planta. All right, James. Good to see you, man. Any good gardener should master their grow space. I always pay attention. Their plants grow best. Definitely. You should master that space. I agree with that, James. Over a period of time, you should become a master of your space. But you have to pay attention. You also have to study your plans. You already have to willing to learn and never believe you know everything because that's gonna be your downfall. Believing you know everything, that's your downfall. Because even though I've been growing food, you think I don't know everything. I don't know everything. And that's the truth. All right, let me see. There are always so many lessons in the garden. Yes, so many lessons to learn from. That's true. And yes, pay attention, master your space. I agree with that. I agree with that. Learning to grow is a lifelong thing. Definitely. You could never finish learning in this thing. You will never finish. LP. I've had 5 grow bags in same spot for several years. It's taken me too long, but this year I said that it nothing grows that well that there I have to move them. Definitely. Once you're not seeing no progress in that, because like I know I was saying, in our garden, in our space, we it's like zone, different zone in our garden. You see, like how we have zone 8 zones, it's like different zone in your garden. And certain plants thrive different in different zone. So this is why rotating crop is important. And even though you're dealing with container, it doesn't mean you can't rotate your crop. Yes, you can. Just move it to another location. You know, I've been growing some fruit tree from seed. I grow a lot of fruit tree from seed because that's basically one of my goal now, growing them from seed. Mango, avocado, tropical plant. And the year before last year, I had them in the sun because it's tropical plant. And you know tropical plant love the sun. So I had them in the sun, and the sun was hitting them for like 6, 7 hours all day. And these plant wasn't growing. And I'm saying, but these plant love the sun. What's going on here? And the truth is, I just leave them. Last year, I said, no, I'm not leaving. I'm rotating these crop this year. And I moved them into a shaded area. And the growth was amazing. They didn't grow the year before because the sun was stunted in them. It was too much heat. And I moved them into a shaded area, and the growth was so amazing. The growth was so amazing. So this is what I'm saying. Rotate crop is very important. If you see you have a plants growing in a certain place and not doing well, shift them around. Try, shift them around. Might just be the right thing to do. All right? You have to rotate crop is not good to. You have to rotate crop is not good to. I'm sorry. Yes. Okay, James say you have to you also have to plan your plans in the right order as well. If you don't, you can block the sun from other plants. So planting is important and can be the difference from a harvest or not. Yes, that's true too. That's definitely true. That's definitely true. That's true. Planting is important, like James said. Planting is important. The way you plant is important because the thing is, you say for instance, you're doing companion planting, right? Say for instance, you're doing companion planting, which is different plants in one space. Now, you can have a plant shaded all the other plant because what's going to be happening there, this plant is actually blocking the sun from the other plant, and these other plants not going to do well. James is correct. I had a tomatillo, a tomatillo plant, and I had was in a space of companion planting. I have turmeric, ginger, in the same area. This plant shoot up so tall and spread, and I had also cut it out because the plants them under it wasn't growing because the plant shaded all the plants and they wasn't getting no sunlight and they wasn't growing at all. So thank you for that point, James, as well. That's a good point. You have to know how to plan because you can allow other plant to shade out other plant because you might even get a harvest. Though he's correct. He's correct. Thank you for that point. Okay, LP say one thing thought about rotating. It's not always a good idea. I have some spot that don't get as much sun, so don't want to plant just anything there. Okay, well, in that case, if you have areas that don't give you sun, then you know you can't grow you know you don't want to grow pepper there. You know you don't want to put okra there because these areas you're not gonna get much from them because they prefer that heat. So if you're doing rotate crop, if you're doing rotate, not my one, if you're doing rotate crop, already know and understand that certain plant is not interested in the cooler weather. So don't ever try to put them over in that shaded area, which might be the pepper, the okra, these type of plants. Don't even think about putting them in shaded area because they're not gonna do well. All right, but there's other crop you could move around. And moving them around is basically learning about them. Okay, because you could move it, don't get me wrong, you could move it to a location and then get no success in that location. That's why you continue moving them until you find that path that they love to go. You see, you can't. So rotating is to find the area where they strive better. It doesn't mean if I move it from here and put it there, it don't have to do better. Rotating it is to find out which part in this area make it grow better and produce more for me. All right, so that's rotating. So just know, just know if you're rotating, just know do not put pepper in cool places. And you could try that with collard greens, broccoli, these type of plants. You could try that in these areas. But when you're talking about plants that love heat, don't even put them in the cool area. But yes, rotate crop is just to find out where it does best, where you get more production. But like I said, it doesn't mean if you move from point A to point B that it's going to walk there. Maybe it might just walk in point D. You see? It might just walk in point B and not from point A to B. It might walk in C. So by you move it from A to B and you ain't see no progress, you bring it over to C. It might just walk in C. So that's why I'm saying to try rotate crop because it educates you as well. So now, if you move it from A to B and you ain't see no progress, you know then. From A to B might be the cool area into a little area where the sun shine 2 to 3 hours, but you ain't seen no progress. You say, all right, let me move it over where the sun shine for 6 hours. And when you do that, you realize, damn, this plant is growing. Now you find the spot. You find the spot. Point A and point B is now working. Point C is what working. So guess what? That's where I'm going to be planting my peppers then. Right in this area. This is where the success is. Yes, you see what I'm saying? So it's like, it's only for learning. And that's how you're going to know it for your next season. I'm not planting my pepper here now here. I'm putting them right here. Okay, hold on. Okay, I think you can plant. Okay, LPC. I think you can plant a crop in same spot, but you have to pay attention to disease and feed in your soil. Yes, yes, you can. You can. I plant my pepper them in the same spot. If you hear what I'm saying, right? From once I did my rotation and I find where the spot where they grow best, that's right there I'm planting it. So now I'm planting pepper the same spot for about 7 years. The same exact spot for 7 years. So nothing wrong with planting them the same spot. Believe it. The same place. I plant my pepper them for like 7 years now. So yes, you could definitely plant your crop the same place. Yes. Okay, let me see. Okay, James, yes, good. Okay, wait. Hold on. Okay, James say, so true. So when faced with a situation like that, the best thing to do is care for the soil in that area to support the plants. You can go there, it's what it do. Right. That's in part we I grow peppers in bucket. Well, people say I can move them around. All right, in sunny places, right? Okay, let me see. I don't have time for that. Most kids, right? Well, is you see, is the time is the time you have. Not everyone have the time because some people gotta go to work, come back home in the night. They really have time for do as much, but do little by little. Do little by little. Let me see. I walk, Jim say I walk happy, but I don't have time for that in most cases. Okay. Well, planters some rotate. Jim say planters some rotate. Some I rotate, some crop, and not others do of the fact of what was there in season before. Okay, all right. Well, okay, got that. Okay. You said that, James. You don't rotate crop because of what was there the season before. That's a good point. Because garlic and onion, if I plant garlic and onion in an area, that's why I try to keep garlic and onion in one area. I try not to put them all over the garden because what I've learned with garlic, not every plant do well with garlic and onion. Not every plant do well. The plant that I see, does well in that area is like strive, cilantro, celery, parsley. That's a plant I see does well for me, my experience in that area. But so when you talk about rotate crop, you still gotta wanna know, like James said the year before. I could plant anything, but when you talk about garlic, onion, I surely would not put anything like peppers, okra, this type of plant in that area. Well, for me, guys, it's for I could only speak from my experience. And from my experience, my first years of planting peppers and okra and these type of plant, it was never like today. It was never like today. So over the years of rotating my crops, them is what made me learn, right? This is what made me learn. This is why in today I could grow a pepper tree 10 feet tall. And if you as a person who following me, you're gonna hear me talk about I'm gonna grow an 8-foot pepper tree this year and able to make it happen. You see, I could tell you that I'm growing an 8-foot pepper tree this year and I could make it happen. You know why I could make that happen? I know the plant, I've been growing them for a long time, and I know the area where to put them. So, because of rotate crop, it carry me to the direct spot where I need to plant pepper. Cabbage, same thing. There's a certain area in my garden. If I plant cabbage, cheese you. You don't want to see beautiful cabbage. But it takes years of rotating, figuring out where should I plant these until I find a spot. Once you find a spot, I'm not moving these plants. I'm planting them right every year. All I'm going to be doing, maintain. That's all I'm going to be doing, maintaining the soil. But I'm not moving because I find the gold, I find the jackpot. Where? can I get these plants to go 10 feet tall? This year I grew a pepper tree 10 feet tall. Last year, 8 feet tall. So I find the spots then. So no, that's where I'm growing pepper. So and this is my experience, guys. I'm sure you guys' experience gonna be different, but we learn from each other. And if one day I'm growing in your zone, LP zone, James zone, you never know. I'm gonna able to graph information from you guys. All right, I'm willing to learn, but I'm also willing to share my experience. Okay, let me go back in the chat. Give me an okay. Let me see. This is part why I grow pep. Okay, all right. Okay, LP. All right. Okay, James, a planter. That's when you have a understand companion planting. This is why, hold on. This is why I cater to the soil and not grow plants, because if you can create really good soil, you can grow just about anything I want. Okay, James, in that part, you can have the best soil, right? You could have the best soil. You could have great soil. But if you don't have that, if that plant desire sunlight, if that plant desires sunlight, you're not gonna get that progress. You know why? The plant might grow. It might grow. But you're not gonna see the power. You're not gonna see the strength in the plant. Not to say it's not gonna grow. But without that sunlight, your soil could be rich. Think about indoors. Let's talk about indoors planting. You have soil, you went in your garden and you take up. Beautiful soil rich. You sow your seed, they germinate. They germinate. But the soil is rich. But how much they doing? They're not doing well. You know why? The soil is wonderful. They get just enough water, but because of that sunlight, they're not getting. Or because of that right area where they're getting that climate, that temperature that it needs is not getting, you're not gonna get that type of production. Why? Because the plant is not getting it getting nutrients, it getting the minerals, but it not getting that. So it lacking of something. You see what I'm coming from? So in that case, it block the plant from its full potential. No, that's what I'm saying. If you're able to find out where in this area this plant is capable of getting everything it's need, that's where you start to see a big difference. Not to say the plant's not gonna grow, but when you talk about like, like for instance, let me speak for a minute. In 6 months, I get a plant to reach 12 feet tall, a pepper tree, in 6 months, right? I plant other pepper trees in different areas in the garden, and they did not reach 10 feet, 10 feet. It did not reach 10 feet, right? Same soil, same method, same everything. They did not reach. You know why? I believe they did not reach. They wasn't getting that heat. They wasn't in the area where they get 6 to 8 hours of sun. The one that was direct, that able to get 6, 7 hours of sun, it shoot up 10 feet tall. You see what I'm coming from? So what I'm saying is, even though your soil is rich as hell, without the right sunlight, without the right water source, I'm not saying you got to go out there and wet them like crazy, no. If you hit the sun, the water is very, very important in that process. So in my garden, I only could speak for my garden, guys. You guys, that's why you got to become a master of your garden. In my garden, rotate crop is what teach me about these plants that I grow. Rotate crop is what teach me. Because if I was rotating the crop and just have them the same place, I would never know. All I will be doing, trying to see if it need, and this is what does happen a lot of time too. What does happen a lot of time is not the soil. Sometimes, and where a lot of people do, I see somebody did that with my own eyes. When it does, if they see the plant is not doing well, the first thing run to their mind, maybe it need a little fertilizer. Sometimes that's not the case. Sometimes it's where the plant located is the place. You see what I'm coming? So this is what I'm using. I'm not saying it works for everyone, but this is a part of my experience, why I'm able to know so much when coming on my soil, when coming on planting, when coming on the caring of the plant. This is why I know so much, because I open up myself to learning and experience. Because I'm not going to have a plant here and it ain't growing and it ain't doing anything and leave it there. Yeah, I might leave it there, but the next year, I'm not planting back that same plant there. What I do, I put it somewhere else. So for my experience, rotate crop works. It helps me. But like we say, guys, everybody got to be a master of their space. Okay, let me go back to the chat. Hold on. Okay. James said, therefore, crop rotation is not as important than I would be in other growing style. Okay. Well, for you, James, it mightn't be important. But for me, it's transformed me on another level. Because of that, I able to map out where to plan for success. You see what I'm coming from? Don't get me wrong. I understand it's not important for you. But for me, it's very important. Why is it important for me? Because this is what takes me to success. Because this is what made me understand how much heat a pepper can take. Because I get a lot of heat in my zone, real heat. I understand how much heat a pepper can take. I understand how much heat a cabbage can take. I understand what they both prefer. How did I learn that? Not just by building the soil, and you guys know how I into my soil. I'm deep into soil, but I also understand it's not just the soil. It's all about the sun. It's all about location in your garden. Just like for instance, you in zone 6, this one in zone 7, this one in zone 8. Everyone have a different zone, different climate to deal with. You could find that even in your soil, in your space, in your garden. You could even find that in your space. Because wherever the trees them is covering and shading, that's the cooler area. That's where you plant your cooler crop. Wherever the sun is penetrating, that's where you plant your heat tolerant crop. How did I know that? Not from not up Google. I know that by rotating. You see where I'm coming from? That's why I'm saying in your space. That's why we're saying in your space, you have to master what you're doing. Okay, let me see again. LP, when you talk about healthy soil, you're speaking to me. I believe I believe in healthy soil. If you hear me, you're gonna hear me talk about healthy soil on and on and on. How to build your soil, how to build your soil natural. Yes, is the greatest part of gardening. Healthy soil is the greatest. This is the most important part in gardening is healthy soil. The most important part in gardening is healthy soil. But I'm going to tell you, without sunlight, without the right amount of sunlight, this plant is not going to produce the way they should, even though the soil is rich. Even though you have super rich soil, which I believe I have, we also need that sun hovering over our plant. We also need that. So I know the importance of soil. I take it to heart. I've been preaching about soil from day one on this channel. I understand the importance. Soil is the essence of gardening. But guess what? We cannot take away the sun. Without the sun, without that sun is a combination. The soil and that sunlight, they all well needed. It's just that some plant could strive in shaded area, and some plant just cannot strive without that sun penetrating them. Okay? Wait, let me go back in the chat. Yes, we can learn from people in other space because some parts of gardening are common, but we can also find people in place like yours. Yes, this is what I was saying. I'm willing to listen to you guys because you guys is in a different zone than I am. So if one day I'm growing in your zone, I have an understanding. So it's about learning. But you have to learn from others. But you got to take it to another step. Because if you learn something from me, or I learn something from you, I'm going to try to see how it works. And after I try it and see how it works, I could say, yes, you know what, man, LP tell me this. And I try it and it works. James tell me this and I try it and it works. Now I'm going to be using your method. But I'm going to also thank you. You see what I'm saying? So it's something we all learn from, right? But I only could speak right now for my garden. I cannot speak for other people garden because you there, you got to be the one studying your progress. You got to figure out if you satisfied with your peppers producing 3 peppers all season. You got to know if you satisfied with growing okra and you might get two little okra off the tree. You got to know if you satisfied. I'm not satisfied with that. So this is why I take on rotate crop. You see where I'm coming from? Because I want the best. I want to know which area gonna give me the full potential of this plant. So the soil is very important, but you can't take away the sunlight. You can't take that away. Try planting a pepper tree in shaded area and you want to see the result. Yeah. If you try plant a pepper tree in shaded area, you want to see the result. Pepper want to be in the sun. It doesn't matter how rich the soil is. If the soil is rich, it's going to grow, but it's going to grow real stringy because that X is missing something. You see like how we cannot do without that sun? Same thing. Okay, let me go back in the chat, guys. Oh, man. Okay, LP. Yes, some things are essential, but healthy soil is everything. Yes, definitely. We love healthy soil. Planter, you are right, but my style of growing location of plants are more important than crop rotation. Example, I grew spinach under the canopy, no, canopy of my zucchini, and it works out well for me. James, that's wonderful. You got to do, I know you grow in the desert, and I know it could be very challenging for you. And maybe that's the right place. This is exactly what I'm saying. Rotate crop. Where you plant, for instance, if you're growing them here and they're growing well, there's no need to rotate the crop. You see where I'm coming from? The only time I think about rotating crop is if I'm not satisfied with what the plant is doing. Then I think, you know what? I'm planting you over the next season. So when you do there, you find a place that works for you. And that's where you're supposed to plant, right where it works for you. But I know, I cannot imagine, James. I can't even imagine the type of sun you know, if you're in the desert, the type of sun and the type of um, heat you got to deal with. I can't even imagine. But still able to get a crop produced from there, I got to give you thumbs up. And I see your garden before. I see your garden before when you used to post video. I used to watch your videos. And you used to have beautiful harvest and you actually growing in the desert. So shout out to you on that, man. Shout out to you on that. Shout out James on that. Because that's why I'm saying you, wherever you grow it, whether in the desert, I never grow in the desert. So I cannot speak for the desert. But wherever you grow it, you have to become. You got to do what working for you. You got to see where and what working for you. So yeah, James. Glad to hear that, man. It works well for you because you grow another crop under your peppers. Plants like I did with spinach. Yes, yes, I do that. I do that too. Let me tell you guys, I plant under my peppers and the magic that's happened. And I've been doing it for years, under my bell pepper. Turmeric. I plant turmeric under my bell pepper, and that combination as companion planting works really well. The turmeric produce really well, and the pepper them produce well. So that combination works really well for me too. Yes, yes. Companion planting, it's another way of plant, but you have to know which plant to put together. That's another way of testing too. That's another way how you find out which plant works with which plant. So this is what I'm saying, man. This thing you could never finish learn with this thing. It's so much to learn from gardening. You could never finish learning. So I will say here tonight, I'm still learning. I know a lot, but I'm still learning. Anyone feel they know everything? Well, you're the fooling yourself because in this thing is so much to learn. I learned through crop rotation. I learned through companion planting because in my garden, this is why I know I cannot plant onion and garlic with peppers. That combination don't work for me at all. But turmeric, ginger, that type of feel work really good with pepper. So this is why you never stop long. Every day you put your foot in the garden, there's something for you to learn. All right, let me go back in the chat. Okay, James, and yes, James, I know you're in the desert, but like I now say, to be in the desert and able to produce food, you have to have some knowledge for that and some skill. So shout out to you on that. For real. Okay, LPC. I have grown carrots under tomato before. Carrots like cooler. Yes, yes. Carrot like cooler weather. Better so the little bit of shade is stink made them happy. Yes. You see, that's what I'm talking about. Because of your experience, LP, because of what you did, you plant your carrots in and they get the little shade, you realize what happened. And the truth is, carrots prefer cooler weather as well. So you see, you learn something every day. Every season, you learn something. So right there, you realize carrots need a shaded area. You see what I'm coming from? That is like if you was planting carrots in the burning sun and you realize these carrots ain't doing well at all. But you put them in a cool area and you see, oh man, look at these carrots. You realize now, this is where I'm planting these carrots. I'm not putting them back in the sun anymore. So these are things you keep here. You keep here, or you keep them on a note, wherever works for you. You keep them on a note, a book or something, so you know, all right, carrots love cool area. So you know now, when I'm growing carrots, I'm going to make sure I plant them in a shaded area. That's how it goes, man, from experience. Yourself is the greatest teacher. Okay, let me see where you say. Right, planter, I have many plants that do okay for me, but would do great for you because you in more sun. Exactly. More sun, better. Your soil could rich like rich. Better. Let me do a little demonstration here. Little demonstration. I'm not sure if you guys ever go through like trees, like a forest. When you go through a forest, the soil is rich, super rich, right? In a forest, the soil is super rich, but guess what? Because the sun is not able to penetrate the smaller plant. You see how they just be under, they're struggling? They're just struggling because no sun. But the soil is super rich. But no sun. The others cover all the sun. And you walking through and ain't no sun coming through because all the leaf blacken all the sun. And they down underneath, they're struggling. But guess what? The soil is super rich. So this is right now I was saying, even though the soil is super rich, without the sun, they're gonna be struggling same way. They're gonna grow now, but they're gonna be very stringy and barely could stand up because that sunlight does magic. Just like with us. It's hard for us. Yes, we might be able to survive, but if the sun stops shining, nothing lives. Okay, let me go back again. All right, LPC. The sun affect the color of many flavor of things as well. Also, a lot of plants in my yard grow taller than they should because they reach for more sun. That's happened as well because when you're not getting that sun, sometimes they just go, just go stringy, not big and powerful. That sun, that sun, man, is so important. So, like me, before I start my garden, I make sure I used to go on the edge it, I clear out the area where I want to plant. You know, I clear out the area because I know I need the sun to come in here. Even though there's a lot of trees around, I know I wanted an area where the sun comes and able to shine in the garden. So one part, you're gonna get at least 6, 7 hours of sun all day. And then the other part, you might get 3, 4. But when the sun move up, you're gonna still shine in there, but you still down there still getting sun. So the sun is really important in our garden. Very, very important. Even though the soil is rich, without the sun, the production well needed. We need that sun. Okay. And you're right, LP. It creates flavor. Oh, wait, oh man, hold on. Oh man. Okay. I'm trying to. Well, you see, companion planting too. Companion planting, as you say, LP, your soil got to be strong because it's more than one plant just right there, and they all suck in. So yes, you're right. Okay, let me see. Let me see what James say. Okay. You have to care for the soil, or you will be better. The soil is very important. I do believe the soil is the most important thing. But that sunlight, hold on, let me see. Companion planters allow you to grow plants that otherwise you couldn't for sure if your group space is small. That's a good way of companion planting too. Whoever said they know everything, yeah, I agree. If you know everything, you got to start running from them. Yeah, You cannot, listen me, you cannot know everything in gardening. No. Yes, exactly. Plants can help each other out. Definitely. That is true. Always learning. Gee, this is why location is more important to me than crop rotation, in my opinion. Well, James, I understand. I understand, but no, in your garden, in your garden is location, right? And wherever you growing your food, that's where you at, right? You you're not in Florida, or you're not in New York, or you're not in Maryland, or you growing in your zone, right? So you got to deal with your zone and what you're growing in your zone, right? To me, why I'm gonna tell you rotate crop is important. Well, I said it already. Why is it important to me? Is because is me able to be, just like what you said, able to locate in my garden where each plant able to strive to their own potential, to their potential. So, like you said, is location, but you got to think about in your garden, in your space, the location in your garden and your space. So this is how rotate crop has worked for me because of location, just like you said. I plant pepper here and they didn't do well at all. I plant them there. This is location. This is location in your garden. I plant them there. They didn't do well. I bring them here and they did well. No, this is the location. Then I plant them back here the following year. And guess what happened? They did well again. So right here, I find the location in my garden, the location where these pepper strive best. So they're not working in B, A, zone A and zone B, but they're working beautiful in zone C. You see, so it's location, but it's in your garden. You have to find the location of where these individual plants strive the best. You cannot plan. You have. How did I know that pepper prefer hot sun? It's because of crop rotation. Because when I plant them here in the cool area, they didn't do well. I moved them over a little, they didn't do well. I moved them directly in the hot sun, and what happened? They thrive well here. That's how I understand. And to confirm this, you know what I did? To confirm that this is the real spot, you know what I did? I went back and I plant pepper at B, and I went back and I plant pepper at C. The same seed, same pepper. What happened? Here turned out to be the real successful place. So because of location, just like you say rotation, you prefer, you nothing, you prefer location. You think location is more important. Yes, it is. It's almost like crop rotation. But the thing is, how you gonna find the location? You'll find the location through crop rotation. You see what I'm saying? That's how you find. So now you know when you plant pepper here, they're not producing. When you plant in pepper, they hardly produce it. But when you put them there, they produce ongoing. So now this is why I've been growing the same pepper, the same place for about 8 years around there, almost 10 years, right here. Right? You know why? Because here, these pepper produce ongoing. These pepper will produce right down till November until the frost hit them. So right here, I'm planting my pepper. My cabbage then, I'm planting my cabbage here. Why? Because when I plant them over here, they're not producing. So I bring them over in the cooler area, which this is the sun. Okay, this is the sunny area. This is where I'm putting my peppers. Because when I put them over here in the cool area, they're not doing well. So when I put them there, that's where they do. They work magic. Now, I was planting the cabbage here. What I realized with the cabbage in a sunny area, they're not doing well. What I did, I moved the cabbage from the sunny area and bring it. So I move the pepper from the cool area, put it in the sunny area, move the cabbage from the sunny area and bring it in the cool area, and that's where I get the tree. So location, you correct, but you ask, but how could you find that spot in your garden where these individual plants strive the most? How I find it? Through rotation crop. So it's also location. It's also the right location in your garden. So at the end of the day, it's the same thing. Location, but in order to find the location, we do rotate crop to find the exact location of where we should plant these plants. Okay, let me see. James said, in my case, I had no shade but full sun everywhere. So in this condition, I create my own shade under my big leaf plant. Sometimes you have to create the condition your plants need. Yes, I agree with that. I agree with that. In your case, because you're dealing with a lot of heat, right? You're dealing with a lot of heat. So in your case, it can be a little different. Why? Why it can be different? Because, wait, too much charge, hold on. Hold on, guys. I gotta look for my charger before this thing. That thing on me. Hold on. Okay. Okay, so in your case, you don't have too much shade in your case. So your garden is full direct sun. Right. Your garden is full direct sun. So what you do now, you basically saying you don't have the option of in your garden to do rotate crop, because you basically saying if I move it from here to there, the sun is shining here the same. And if I move it there, it's the same. And if I move it there, it's the same. And if I move it there, it's the same. So now I understand you. You don't have no shaded area. So now You have to, is different. Because you now have to create a shaded condition for these plants because you get in direct sun every day. So now you got to plant plants that can shade other plants, which is very creative, which is a good idea in your zone. Very creative, and it's a good idea in your zone because you have no option to say, all right, you know what? Let me put it over here because here cooler. So you know, plant plants to create barriers to help shade the others, which is very creative. But now for the people who have shaded area and sunny area, or area that get 4 hours of sun and area that get maybe 6 hours of sun, right? They have option to rotate. You get in the same type of sun. People in the desert, right? They get in the same type of sun all over their garden. So rotate crop is not necessary. You have to create a place that these plants could get shaded in some form or the other. But in like my garden, I have option to do rotate crop. I have option because there's this area, 4 hours of sun, this area, maybe 6 hours of sun. So now I could move them because there's cabbage that hate the hot sun but prefer the cooler one. So I bring the cabbage over and I push the cabbage over, the pepper over. So I understand. The reason why I explain it like that because this is for any listeners as well to aid because we learning from each other. For any listeners as well, why I'm doing rotate crop and why it might be different for a person to do rotate crop if in their garden basically have no sun. Because why I'm doing rotate crop, let me explain why I'm doing rotate crop. Let me explain. The reason why I'm doing rotate crop is because in my garden you have different areas. Meaning, like I now explained, there's areas who get 6 hours of sun and there's areas that shaded. Now, if you have that type of climate going on in your garden, you have to figure out which of the plant is best to plant in the shaded area or which of the plant is best to plant in the sunny area. You got to figure that out because you actually have options to figure that out. It's not about the soil. It have nothing to do with the soil. It's the location of the sun. That's why I was doing crop rotation. It's not about soil. It's about the light of the sun. How much sunlight a plant require and how much how much of them could just live in a shaded area. So it's not about the soil will rotate crop for me. It's about the sun. All right? Okay, let me see. I agree, James. The truth is, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just elaborating a little more, but I agree with what you're saying. And that's what I do in my garden. I use what I have and make it work. What's around me, the things I have around me, that's what I use and make it work. And it works out better for me. It saves me a lot of money because I'm not trying to go and buy a bunch of things and I have stuff right around me that I can use. So in gardening, you have to be creative as you can be. Yes, I agree. And being creative, it helps you, you learn a lot, and it really helps you save you a lot as well. But like I was saying, rotate crop teach me a lot about different plants. I don't rotate crop because of the soil, because I walk all my soil the same. All my soil, same method. Same method. All over my garden is the same method I use all the time. But there's areas that have a lot of sun, and there's areas that don't have sun. But being creative, like I will say, shout out to James. I will say that again. Shout out to James. Because James is growing in the desert. And we all know what desert heat is like. We all know how desert heat can be steaming. Well, I don't know. But I could just suggest. Could be steaming. But he still create an environment to able to grow food. That's a skill right there. That's knowledge. That's knowledge. But at the end of the day, this is what I'm saying. You have to able to, your space is your space. Whether it's big or it's small, it's your space. You got to know what works for you in your space. I could only speak for my space. You see what I'm coming from? I know what I did in my space and how much it has teach me. Yeah, teach me so much. Companion planting and rotate crop teach me a whole lot. I can tell you that. Okay, let me see. Help me say, being creative and trying new things is key. Definitely. Try different place, different containers, keep learning, keep trying. Wait, hold on. Okay, hold on. Never give up, but know when to give up. That's a good one, LP. That's a good one. That's a good one right there. Some varieties just don't work well for me. Some place method don't work for my space or my lifestyle and schedule. Exactly. That's why you got to make what you, like I'm saying, you could learn from people. You could learn ideas from people. And you could try these ideas. But when it all boils down, it's you. You see what I'm coming from? Is what working for you. Is it's you, because at the end of the day, you looking for a garden that produce. So at the end of the day, you have to make it work for you. This is your space. I'm not in your space. No one in your space. You in your space. You got to try. You got to figure out what to do, how to do it, when to do it. Try it. It might just work. And if it don't work, you move on to something else. That's how I see it. That's how I see it. But in your zone, your garden, you have to try and see what works for yourself. I can give information, And a lot of people tell me, a lot of people email me. People email me and tell me, thank you for the information. It's very helpful. And I appreciate that. I appreciate to know that the information I'm giving, people using it and it working for them. But I also show that it might not work for everybody because everybody in different zone. But when come and building your soil the right way and the natural way, it could work for everybody. When come on your plants and how you it might not work, but your soil, building your soil, and especially a natural soil, it can work for anybody. But planting and the way you plant and in different, it might not work for you because number one, different climate, different temperature. But good ideas is good to try. Good ideas is good to try. If it works, it works. If it don't, it just don't. But at least you learn something. You learn that this way is not working for me. So let me move on to something else. So it's all about learning and educating ourselves. Okay, let me see all that. Shade helped me in so many ways. James said, James helped me in so many ways because full in your soul, day in, day out, is not a good time. So I had adapt my growth style to overcome condition in order to be the best I can. And like I said, man, like I said, and I'm gonna say it again. Shout out to dreams growing in the desert. Because growing in the desert, you naturally have to create. You see, growing in my zone, I ain't gotta create nothing. I just gotta, if there's a tree that shade in my garden, I just, limb it and take the limb from over my garden. But in dream situation, people in the desert, not just dreams alone, is a lot of people growing in the desert and able to create a condition and able to harvest food from that condition without with all this heat. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to you. And keep doing your thing, man. Keep doing your thing. At the end of the day, food is essential. We got to eat. Shout out to you on that one. Okay, let me see what LP say. LP say, some variety don't work well for me. Some place and method don't work for me or my lifestyle. And the next thing again, guys, the next thing again, we all grow food different and we all use different things around our plant. We all use different type of stuff around our soil. So I cannot relate to people who using chemical, who using we call it what they call it, artificial, whatever they call it, synthetic fertilizer. I can't relate to people like that because I don't use these things. So I cannot relate. So my conversation is nothing concerning these things. This conversation is about growing food natural. We're just using the things around you, the leaf, not going to the store and add anything to your soil. Because if me and you growing food, if me and you growing food, and I'm not using these things and you using these things, there's no way we're gonna get the same result. There's no way we're gonna get the same result. You see what I'm saying? My garden is a garden. I've been walking this garden for over 10 years now. And this garden, the only thing ever going to this soil is grass clipping, weeds that pulls out of the garden, leaf that fall from the tree. When a tree fall down and the body decay and break down, these are the things that go in the soil. And this been happening for over 10 years now. So nothing never added to this garden from the soil, from the store. So a garden like mine, to someone who using, is not going to be the same. It's going to be different. The result will never be the same. You see where I'm coming from? So this is basically the information I'm giving is basically for I want to relate to natural gardening. I cannot relate to any other product out there because I don't promote the products them. I do not use them. So I cannot speak too much on them. It's about, I believe in natural gardening. And for me, and my experience, it works well for me over the years. I've seen so much stuff. I've seen some great result. You know, I don't have to worry about my soil is drying out. I don't have to worry about them things. My soil always have some type of moisture inside of it. So this is why I always try to encourage people about the natural way because it works for me. And when we talk about soil, building a rich soil is one of the most important thing we could ever do. Building, and if you spend years building soil and then just decide to use different things and mess up your soil, it don't make sense. Continue building your soil natural. Continue doing that. You won't regret it. Don't sometimes, and in order to build a natural soil, sometimes it take discipline. I'm telling you guys, it take discipline because so much people introduce you to so much of these products. So much people introduce you to different products. You might just find yourself using them after putting so much work, after put in so much work for so much years, building your soil, getting great result, and you get distracted one time because someone tell you about a product and how it works good, and you fall for it. So you gotta be focused and you have to have discipline because you could get distracted very easy. This channel is to show you building natural soil and how it works. I'm, I'm not here. I'm not here to tell anyone. Don't grow food the way you grow it. Grow it just like me. Nope, not doing that. I'm here to show my journey of growing natural food, building natural soil without going to the store, and still able to have a successful garden every year, even though I'm not going to the store. I'm trying to show you that you can do the same, but it's going to take patience, discipline. Yeah, it's going to take that because, and focus, because people will distract you with a product. Yeah, man, I use this and this work really well, man. And yeah, man, this is good. Yeah, it make this. And next thing you find, you start using this thing, and then your soil start change. You realize your soil start to get sandy. You realize the soil is not holding any substance. But my journey is not to tell you not to go to the store. You have to make that decision for yourself. I'm not going, but that's your decision. You got to make this decision for yourself. You can do it if you. I understand that many people have the resources around them where they could just grab leaf and these things. So you got to do what you got to do. But if you have it, make use of it. And being creative is like a blessing because you actually creating ways how to grow food. Like James, he create a space that he can grow food. That's all, that's important. And he making it work for him. I got to shout out for that man. And shout out to LP because LP as well. LP doing great work as well. These are people who using their space and grow what they can. And you got to give them thumbs up for that. They using their space and grow what they have. You understand? And grow what they can. Shout out because there's people who have big space and just bush growing on top of it. So for people who have the courage and able to get out there and put the work in to able to get food for them and their family, shout out to you guys. Oh yes, can't say it enough. LP say, yes, your soil is too, yes, your soil is too different. All of our soil are different from each other. Definitely. It's different soil, different condition. It's different. That's why you got to become the master you are out in your garden and make it work for you. That's the goal. Make it work for you. That's the goal right there. Synthetic plant food. Definitely, James. I try to tell people that, but sometimes I don't want to say it too bold, but I try to because I seen it with my own eyes. From there was a guy he used to plant tomato, and he just using these things, and I'm saying, man, why you don't try to build some natural soil and grow your stuff them? He said, nah, man, this thing working for me. All right. He used it for a couple of years. And the thing is, he using it and he not doing nothing to his soil. He just using that. Like he sprinkle it around his plant. And then if he sprinkle it too close, it burn down his plant. So he had to start off for sprinkle it. And then his plant them used to grow up. They used to grow up. The plants them used to grow up. They used to grow up. But all of a sudden, he realized something start happening. His soil start drying out, and when you break it up, it's just rolling like sand. I say, see what I'm telling you? That's what I was telling you. Now he gone back to square one, where taking the idea I was telling him. So he gone back to square one trying to fix back his soil, which he didn't have to get there. He could have still, by this time, his soil might have been in a really good stage. So we just get caught up and believe that we can just sprinkle these things on our plant and they shoot up our plant. But at the same time, our soil, remember that's one of the most important, I'm not going to say the most, or the sun is needed, but is one of the most important thing. Whatever you put in the soil is what you're taking in. That's where the plant is taking in. And it also could mess with your soil at the same time. It takes a long time to build good soil, so you don't go back to exactly. Exactly, Jane. After putting in all the work for months, not months, years, build your soil to a stage where the soil is doing well and somebody to introduce you to something and you just feel like, you know what, let me try this if it's working and mess up what you had going on. So that's why I'm saying focus, discipline, patience when building soil. So you're not trying to be distracted because you're trying to build a natural soil. This is what you're trying to do. You're trying to build something natural. So if you're trying to build something natural, you cannot fall for distraction. Because anyhow you fall for distraction, you change the course. You change what you was doing. It ain't natural no more because you start adding synthetic to it. So it's not natural no more. So think about it, guys. But remember, I'm not here to tell you what to do and how to grow your food. I'm just here to give ideas. And if you see the ideas and you like it and you try and it works for you, good. But everything I'm sharing is my experience in my garden. Everything I'm sharing that I didn't have to go to the store to create a garden. I created with what I have. I created observing how nature operates. How nature operates. You go through the trees and you observe. You see the leaf fall every fall and then break down and feed these trees in there. We never see people going in there with fertilizer one day. We only see leaf fall, break down. That's what we see. So nature is what I observe, and I do the same thing. I try to mimic nature. So instead of me going to the store, I go to the. If you want to learn, let me say this. If you want to learn about natural gardening, your greatest teacher is nature. Yeah. If you have a little forest behind you, it ain't gonna be no big forest, just an area where a few trees located. Just go in there and nature will teach you. You will be surprised what you learn. And then if you take that same method and transform it into your garden, then you ain't got to stress. You see? You ain't got to worry because nature is walking. When we use synthetic. We take away the natural from what we're doing. And nature is natural. Remember that. Nature is natural. So when you add, you taking away the natural, now it starts becoming the opposite of natural, which is artificial. That's where you create it. You're creating something artificial. And this been happening for years. We take ourselves from the natural and cling to the artificial more than the natural. You know? This is why farmers have so many issues with their soil. Definitely, this is true because you see, a lot of them they try to produce food. They try to produce food for millions of people. A lot of them, and in order to produce food for millions of people, you could never just go natural. You understand? You got to do something. You got to do something to speed that process. But you know what? There's natural way to speed process. There's natural way the plants you could put together. There's plants, leaf, roots that you could put together naturally and get fast growth. But nobody want the natural anymore. Everybody want the artificially synthetic and they just and then meanwhile so much thing is happening, you know? Like I always said, plant a garden and nature will come to you. But plant a garden with nature in mind, she stays with you. Good said, good said, good said, James. Good said. That's a good said, man. Yes, that's a good saying. That's a beautiful saying, for real, for real. You want nature stays with you. That's what you want. So how you're gonna get nature away from you is when you start to add artificial. Artificial is where drives away earthworms and all the beneficial insect and parasite you have in your soil that work together and create that ecosystem in your garden. Them thing, get rid of them. So now your soil start to become weak and sandy. Listen me. That- all right, okay, okay, Jim. That's no excuse. Yes, I've said that in all my videos. Remember, yes, 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 yes. That's a good scene. Definitely. Nature, it stays with you. Yes, guys, it's a process for sure. Gardening teaches patience. Definitely, definitely, it is a process. It is a, and that's why I'm saying you have to have patience. You have to have patience and even discipline add to it. I'm telling you, even discipline add to it. And that's where the learning process come in, and that's where you learn, and then you always remember you don't know everything. You have to understand that. Don't ever feel I know everything. You ain't got to tell me. No, we learn every day. I've been doing this thing for so long and I'm still learning today. Yes. It also teaches. You know what, James? You said it right again. If though you said it right, it's true. This is why a lot of time I might be doing a live talking about different things, but somehow or the other, it ends up right in to gardening. Somehow the conversation leads right into gardening because they both connect in some kind of ways. You understand? When you look at plants, sometimes you look at lifestyle, you look at people, and you base it. It teaches you. It naturally teaches you. Even in lifestyle, teach us about planting if we really pay attention. And also in gardening, teach us about lifestyle. You correct about that? You definitely correct with that. But guys, man, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure with you guys tonight. LP and James, man, listen to me. I enjoy you guys, man. I enjoy you guys. You guys was yes, I love that. Because you know why? Here why I love that because I was able to I was able to explain, get into more depths and details of certain things. Yes, I truly enjoy this for real because I was able to into details of more things. You know what I'm saying? Break down things a little like I was able to go into um rotating crop. I really enjoy this. I'm telling you. And we did it so beautiful. Hey, Jamaica, thank you for being here, sis. We appreciate you all. Guys, man, I appreciate you all so much, man. The conversation was amazing because it helps me. It made me went into more details about the topic, about companion planting and rotate crop. It really made me went into some detail. So this was a really interesting live. Shout out to everyone who come out. Shout out to Jamaica. Appreciate you coming out. Shout out to LP. Shout out to James. Shout out to Goody. Shout out to everybody who passed through this live tonight, man. But this was a really interesting live tonight. I'm hoping that we can have more of these live because it's not me just here speaking. It's about the interaction from you guys. Make it awesome, man. All right. It in live like this, more information get to come out. More information get to share in these type of life where the interaction. And guess what? There wasn't one of you take us off the topic. You see what I'm saying? It was not even one time we come off the topic. Sometimes you're doing live and people take you on different places. We was focused. Man, this was a beautiful. Thank you guys, man. I appreciate you all so much. Hope to see you guys again. This was amazing, for real. Thank you for watching. Okay. LPC, great conversation. Thank yes, man. No, I appreciate you guys for being here, man. Thank you all. Thank you, James, man. James, thank you, Platt, for having me. No, man, much love, man. Blessing to all of you guys. Yes, so you guys have a blessed night. This was interesting. Thank you all. Peace and love. All right. Thank you all. Good night.